So I read Julia Quinn. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Now today I'm going to be talking about some Julia Quinn novels. After I made my guide to Tessa Dare and also a guide to Lisa Kleypas, a lot of people have commented on the videos and let me know that Julia Quinn was one of their favorite historical romance authors. I think after I made like a snide remark saying that Julia Quinn was my favorite historical romance author until I read Lisa Kleypas, and then Julia Quinn kind of just went down in the line. And so Julia Quinn is writing historical romances constantly, and she actually recently started a prequel series to her Bridgerton novel series, and I decided to read all of Bridgerton series plus her prequel series. So I am still not finished the Bridgerton series yet. I am on book number 7 of 8 and I am slowly making my way through it. So as soon as I finish that one, I will try my best to film a video. But regardless, let's talk about the prequel series that I did finish. So she actually has 4 books right now for her prequel series for the Bridgerton series that is basically coming to Netflix, and it's a series that lots of people love and lots of people talk about. She decided to write a series that kind of talked about the Bridgertons before the Bridgertons were kind of Bridgertons. So this included characters of like the mom and the dad, and also the family living next door, which is, I think their last name is called the Rokesbys or Rokesbys, but that's their last names. And this is the prequel series that's called the Rokesby series. So there's 4 books in the series so far. And the first one is Because of Miss Bridgerton. The second one is The Girl with a Make-Believe Husband. The next one is The Other Miss Bridgerton. And then the last one that came out this year is First Comes Scandal. So overall, this series did a great job, I think, of being different from the Bridgerton series because they told from different characters that we've never heard before in the Bridgerton series. And they also talked about like different aspects and different tropes. There's like, they can be read as a standalone. So if you guys are wondering if you guys should need to read the prequel series first or you need to read the Bridgerton series, you can just read them as whatever you want to read them. Each story kind of takes place and finishes on their own. They don't really bleed that much into each other. So my advice for you is just to pick whatever is of interest to you and just read from there. Bridgerton series as well, they can be read as standalones. I feel like none of the characters really bleed in that much, and towards your special preferences towards the characters that you want to read. This series, the Rokesby series, on average, I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. You know, it wasn't that great, it wasn't that bad, but it was just like kind of like so-so. So let's get started with individually breaking down the book. So the first book in the series is Because of Miss Bridgerton, and now this series follows a character named Billy and George. And now Billy and George is having a enemies to lovers romance. You know, people think that Billy, being a great friend of the Rokesby family, that Billy would marry one of the brothers named Edward or Andrew, but never would anybody expect that Billy would actually marry George, because George and Billy absolutely hate each other. And this book was a very slow burn romance, and I'm going to apologize here right now, but Julia Quinn novels, there's nothing really happening. There's more character interactions that are happening rather than plot. So if you guys like quick dialogue, if you guys like dialogue between characters and some funny events happening along the way that is not very plot heavy and not very event heavy, then you'll definitely love this series. For me personally, I give this one a 3 out of 5 stars. Like, it was just boring sometimes, it dragged a lot, and it was just very cute towards the end, so that's why I kind of gave it 3 out of 5 stars. So the next book in the series is The Girl with a Make-Believe Husband, and this story follows 2 characters named Cecilia and Edward. And now Edward, I believe he was a soldier and he was severely injured in war. He got knocked on the head and he was unconscious for a very long time. So when he wakes up, his head hurts and he doesn't know where he is. He don't know what's happening, but he for sure remembers that he wasn't married before he got knocked on the head. But according to people around him, he is married, and he's married to this girl named Cecilia, who just so happens to be the little sister of his best friend. And he is confused, and now Cecilia has to go on with this lie that she is married to him so that she doesn't get kicked off the base, because she's in search of her older brother. And this is the story of them growing closer together through grief and also through like close proximity. I really enjoyed the story because it was set up differently. It was more interesting. There was things that were actually happening that actually kept me interested, and I actually felt like the immense connection between these two characters. But I actually have to take a star off because sometimes there was nothing happening and it was kind of slow and I was kind of bored. So I gave this one an overall 4 out of 5 stars. So the next book in the series is The Other Miss Bridgerton, and now this story follows two characters named Andrew and Poppy, and now Andrew is a pirate, so I'm already intrigued because I love pirate romances. And basically Poppy is like going on about of a beach or something, and she discovers a smuggler's hideaway, and she is kidnapped and she is put on a ship, and she is basically stuck in close proximity with Andrew this entire boat ride. And it's about them fighting for their attraction from each other because they don't want to like go into a scandal, they don't want to get married, and he has his own secrets because he's actually from a wealthy family, the Rokesby series, and he is trying to save Poppy from ruin, so he doesn't want to push himself on top of her and things like that. And this is their love story. Overall, this book I gave a 3 out of 5 stars once again. It had its very good moments where it picked up a bit, but then it also had its very slow moments once again where I was kind of bored. And while I was listening to the audiobook, I was like, is 3 the max speed? Can we go a little bit higher now? Now, the last book in the series is a book that came out this year. It's called First Comes Scandal, and this book follows two characters named Georgina and Nicholas. And now Georgina, she had no objection to getting married, but she just wanted to actually have a say in getting married. So basically, this is a very weird setup where she was actually kidnapped by a man so that he can ruin her reputation by like not doing anything sexual, but just like ruin her reputation of making her stay one night in his like house so that people think that they did stuff together, so that she has to be forced to be married to that man. Now Nicholas is like the family's friend, so like he's part of the Rokesby's family, and he is told by his elders, I forgot which one who told him, but basically I think it's his father. His father told him that he has to marry Georgina and save her reputation, and that it will be a decent match because they both come from the same families. They were friends for so long, so this is like a very noble thing for you to do if you just marry her off. And Nicholas doesn't want to be forced into things, but Nicholas decides that it's better for Georgina to marry him than Georgina to ruin her whole entire life. Overall, this book I gave a 3 out of 5 stars. Once again, it was an interesting setup. It was fun, but it was slow a lot of the times as well, and I wouldn't know if I would recommend this to you. I think if you are a fan of Julia Quinn, then you would really love her books because it brings a nostalgia to you, and you would remember her writing because her writing is very cute and very fluffy. But other than that, there's just really nothing happening in her books. So that is it for my very quick Julia Quinn wrap up of her prequel series to the Bridgertons. Once again, I am planning to finish the Bridgerton series, but honestly, if I were to give you a spoiler right now, the reason why it's taking me a whole entire month to actually finish that series is because I'm not really interested in the books. I mean, like in the Bridgertons, there were some books that I really enjoyed that I gave like a 5 out of 5. No, not like a 5 out of 5. There were some books that I really enjoyed that I gave a 4 out of 5 stars to, but then there were some that I was just like, okay, this is a 3 out of 5 stars. And then some were just like ridiculous, and I gave 2 out of 5 stars. But if you guys are interested, let me know in the comments, because then I'll motivate myself to read more of her books. But other than that, I'll probably just stick to my other historical romance authors on my shelves. But until next time, I'll see you guys again. Bye guys.